Hey, what's up guys, DarkArmedDuelist, and today we're going to be doing a Master Duels Toon deck profile. So I'm really excited for you guys because this deck is a crazy fun deck to play around with on Master Duels because of the effects of the Toons being able to attack directly. I cannot tell you how many times I've won by using that effect with this deck. It's super fun to be able to do and totally catches your opponent off guard. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of Notification Squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards like getting your name description every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your patron, along with test hands. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're gonna be playing 3 copies of Toon Blackluster Soldier. This card is a crazy awesome card and a great boss monster for the deck that has the ability that it cannot be normal summoned or set. It must first be special summoned from your hand by tributing Toon monsters from your hand or field whose total level equal 8 or more. And while you control Toon World and your opponent controls no Toons, this card can attack directly, which is really amazing, especially when you put multiple Toons on the field that can attack directly. It also has the ability that once per turn, if you control a Toon World, then you can target one card on the field and banish it, but this card can't attack the turn you activate that effect. But it's really good to be able to just have a spot removal card and a 3000 attack point monster that can attack directly. We then play 3 copies of Toon Dark Magician. Toon Dark Magician is a great card to summon with cards like your Toon Page Flip, and it has a really neat ability that you can do once per turn, discard a Toon or a Manga Reran, and then activate one of the effects to be able to special summon a Toon monster from your deck, ignoring its summoning conditions except for another copy of this card, or add a Toon spell or trap from your deck to your hand, which is a really amazing effect. And all of your Toons share that ability that they can attack directly if your opponent doesn't control a Toon monster. We then play 2 copies of Red Eyes Toon Dragon. This card is really good because it has the ability that you can once per turn special summon a Toon monster from your hand, except another copy of itself, ignoring its summoning conditions. So you can kind of bypass the ability of the Blackluster Soldier being able to have to tribute monsters to summon it out. You can basically just special summon it out with the Red Eyes Toon or the Toon Dark Magician. We then play a single copy of Toon Cyber Dragon. This card is a great card because it can special summon itself to your side of the field if you don't control a monster, which is a great effect and can be even used to out certain cards in the extra monster zone with Chimera Tech Mega Fleet. We then play 2 copies of Toon Harpy Lady. Toon Harpy Lady is a good 2 of because she has the ability that she can't attack the turn she's summoned, and if you control Toon World, you can special summon this card from your hand, and then if you control another Toon, you can destroy a spell or trap your opponent controls, which is a pretty good effect to be able to just pop a spell or trap on summon. We then play 2 copies of Toon Mermaid. Toon Mermaid is a great 2 of in this deck because you can just special summon herself to your side of the field, which is a great ability to have in this deck to help you go in for rank 4s. We then play 3 copies of the Blackstone of Legend. This card is used because you contribute it on your side of the field to special summon out your copy of Red Eyes Toon Dragon from the deck. It's a really helpful card to be able to just instantly summon that card to your side of the field. And then we play 3 copies of Maxi. Maxi is really good in Master Duels and is an insane card that you can basically just activate this card and your opponent will either stop or give you so many Toons that in your hand that you're just going to be able to special summon out multiple to your side of the field during the following turn and go in for game. So this card is a great 3 of in this deck. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Toon Kingdom. This card is our Toon World of the deck because this card is counted as Toon World, because when this card is activated, you banish 3 cards off the top of your deck face down, and this card's name becomes Toon World while in the field spell zone. And your opponent cannot target Toon monsters you control with card effects, and if a Toon monsters you control would be destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can banish 1 card from the top of your deck face down instead for each of those monsters. So you can actually protect your Toons from being destroyed, which is really good, and it makes your Toons untargetable, which is just absolutely nuts. We then play 3 copies of Toon Table of Contents, one of the best searchers in the entire game because it has the ability to add any Toon card from your deck to your hand, even another copy of Toon Table of Contents, which is just really crazy. We then play 3 copies of Toon Bookmark. This card is really good, and the card you're going to be summoning, or card you're going to be searching off your copy of Toon Table of Contents the majority of the time, because when you activate Toon Table of Contents, you can then search this card card, and then this card lets you add a Toon World or a card that specifically lists Toon World and its text from your deck to your hand. The reason you will search this card is because you can banish this card from the graveyard to protect your Toon World from being destroyed by card effects, basically protecting your copy of Toon Kingdom, which is really good. We then play 3 copies of Toon Page Flip. Toon Page Flip is insane because it's basically like a Cosmo Tin Can, because it has the ability, if you control a Toon World, you can reveal any 3 Toons with different names in your deck. Your opponent randomly picks 1 and you special summon it to your side of the field, and you shuffle the rest back into the deck, giving you the ability to special summon out really high attack point monsters to your side of the field to go in for game. We then play 3 copies of Comic Hand. This card is insane. I love this card at 3 and cannot emphasize enough that this card needs to be at 3 in this deck. It has the ability, if you control a Toon World, you can equip this card to an opponent's monster and take control of that monster. It is treated as a Toon and can attack your opponent directly if they don't control a Toon. So you can grab any monster that they have, equip this card to them, and then it turns them into a Toon, and they can just swing directly. Like, that's so good and helps you go for game. This card is insane, and you gotta play 3 of this. We then play 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance. Pot of Extravagance is really good because you don't really need the extra deck in this particular build. So this card helps you draw 2 cards by banishing 6 from your extra deck, and it can also bait out Ash Blossom if you already have the copies of the Toon Kingdom, and you don't really need the search, which this card is just a really good +1 if it goes off. So I definitely recommend 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to be playing 3 traps in this build, and it's going to be 3 copies of Torrential Tribute. Torrential Tribute is really good because of the effect of Toon Kingdom, where you can basically just banish a card to protect your Toon monster. So this card board wipes the opponent while also protecting our Toon, so we can go in for game. It helps our opponent, makes it so our opponent can't establish an insane board that we can't attack through. So this card is a really good 3 of in the deck and just completely catches the opponent off guard to be able to just immediately flip this card. And they're like, wait, you have 3 monsters on the field. I'm like, yeah, banish 3 off the top of my deck. Protects them. Your monsters are gone, which this card is really insane in this deck. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Barricade Borg Blocker. This card is a great 3 of because it has a really good effect. This card is Link Summon. You can discard a card, and then during the end phase of this turn, add a continuous or a field spell card from your graveyard to your hand, which this card comes in very handy to recover back your copies of Kingdom. So this card is a great 3 of. It's one of the only cards I actually go into in the extra deck, so I highly recommend this card as a 3 of to be able to just grab back your copies of your Toon Kingdom. It also has the ability that face-up spells you control cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects, giving your Toon Kingdom a little bit of protection. We then play 2 copies of Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. I bumped it down to 2 in this particular build because it's a really good card, but I wanted to play some other cards in the extra deck. But this card is really good because it has the ability that it cannot be destroyed by card effects. And while this card has XZ material, each time your opponent activates a card or effect, inflict 500 points of damage to your opponent. So this card can basically make it so you can attack directly with like your Toon BLS, do 3000 damage, and then make this card during main phase 2 with 2 of your level 7 Toon monsters, and then basically end the game after they activate a certain amount of effects. If you summon 1 out to your side of the field, they only get 16 effects. If you summon out 2, both of these to your side of the field, they're only going to get 8 effects before they totally lose all their life points. And that depends on if they pay any life points or you attack them directly with any of your Toons. We then play 2 copies of Chimeratech Mega Fleet Dragon. This is here for the Toon Cyber Dragon because it has the ability that just takes a Cyber Dragon monster plus 1 monster in the extra monster zone, and it can't be used as fusion material, and it must first be special summoned from the extra deck by sending the above fusion materials to the graveyard, and you don't have to use polymerization. And the original attack of this card becomes 1200 times the number of fusion materials used to special summon this card. So this card's really good to out any card that your opponent puts in the extra monster zone, because you can just summon out your copy of your Toon Cyber Dragon to be able to out anything that they put in the extra monster zone. So this card is a great 2 of. We then play a single copy of Chimeratech Fortress Dragon. Chimeratech Fortress Dragon is good because it just takes a machine monster. So this card can out cards like Zeus, and it's just a really good card because basically you can just put this card on, put your copy of Toon Cyber Dragon on your field, and then after you do, you just send the cards from your opponent's side of the field that are machine monsters to the graveyard, and then once you do, you basically summon out this card, and it becomes 1000 attack points times the number of monsters you put into this card. So it's a great 1 of to play in here. I really like Mega Fleet a little bit more, but this card is a good one to play. We then play 2 copies of Ice Beast Xeraphine. Ice Beast Xeraphine is actually Savannah's tech for this deck, and I really liked this card because in Master Duels, you don't have 3 copies of Toad, you only have 1 copy of Toad, so it makes the Bahamut Shark plays a little bit weaker. So this card makes up for it with your copies of Toon Harpy Lady, because this card has the ability that you get to once per turn, detach material from this card, negate the effects of all face-up cards your opponent currently controls, and if you do, this card gains 300 attack for each face-up card they currently control, or each face-up card currently on the field, except this card, and then it gains the attack until the next stamina phase. So this card is a great card to basically just Dark Ruler no more the field or Cold Wave the field, and then go in for game with your Toon monsters while also having an Ice Beast Xeraphine that's absolutely humongous to back them up. We then play a single copy of Tornado Dragon just to pop spells and traps, so this card is really good as one of in here. 1 copy of number 60 because you can draw 2, discard 1, double the attack of one of your Toon monsters, or even bring a Toon back from the graveyard, which is really good for this deck. 1 copy of Bahamut Shark because we can only make Toad once, so I'm only playing a single copy of Bahamut Shark. 1 copy of Toad because Toad is at 1 in Master Duels, so you only can play 1 copy of it, and then a single copy of Zeus just in case we need to board wipe, because sometimes you will need to board wipe in this deck, and you do have the copies, you have multiple copies of Toon Kingdom, so it's not like the end of the game if you do lose 1 copy of that card. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. It's a crazy fun deck to play, and I highly recommend that you guys give this deck a try. It's super fun what Toons can actually do in Master Duels, because basically just attacking directly is the name of the game with this deck, and it's just super fun because you can totally catch your opponent off guard. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and then you're seeing come part of notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.